Hello, everyone. I'm Oracle Unicorn. Welcome to Coffee, Tea, and Chit Chat. And okay, so hopefully, me putting the headphones connected to the phone, hopefully, you'll be able to hear me better. Since how I'm not having to hear anyone, I figured I'd just put them in front and not in my ears. Good morning. Welcome. I hope you can hear. I have the headphones connected. Maybe it was just my speaker last time being covered by the phone. I don't know. Recently, in the world of Unicorn, I am reading The Guide to Shadow Work, and I've been watching Demon Slayer. There. That worked. Now I can see comments too. We'll see how. Comments. See, this makes it easier to turn off volume. Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for sharing me out. I like the way I set this up because now no one can see. My roommate's off to work. I sent an email to the assistant manager here to see if I can get the resume that I made, because online you can make a resume for free, but to keep that resume without the watermark, you have to pay for that. So I screenshotted the resume with its watermark and I emailed it so that maybe I can get it printed out, because I'm thinking that there's a specific place nearby I want to try, but with having the watermarks on the resume create an issue. So, but at least I have not just a format, but a format and everything that I would like in my resume. It's up to copy to make a better one later when I have the chance. But at least I have some sort of grounding in it, because it seems like to be able to do anything or get a job anywhere, you have to send out a resume or give them a resume. And that was never my forte. I was always the type of person to fill out an application. Everything's changed so much. Just damn. But in that process, I am reading Guide to Shadow Work, and this is interesting. It's actually made me want to, when I finally have my own grounding in for my own family, I want this freely accessed in my when I create my family and this will definitely be freely accessed, even if I have to do a reading, which is the way it's set up is really good for that. Like you can just read out, like have a family meeting, read a page, have a conversation with the questions that are relating to said page. So it's not a lot, and it's very active, and acknowledgement of other people's differences, especially within the family unit. Like, you know how people have game night? This is something like, I feel like this would be like a incorporate type thing for a family unit, as like a family meeting type thing. So it's really amazing, and I'm pretty sure every page is like that, where it has something you have read on the one side of the page, and then it has questions on the other side of the page, so you can go through and have communication with your family about these things. And it's very lighthearted, actually. So I was like, it explained things on, like, a kid would be able to, like, answer these questions to a point, certain ones, like when it says to watch specific different type of shows, and what shows do you relate to, or which character within the show do you relate to, which character do you not really like, and kind of why, and how does that make you feel inside, you know? So you could do that with kids too, even if you get simple answers. You know, it's good. It's a good start off for self-acknowledgement, self-understanding, and understandings in projection type of behavior type things. So if you want something, you know, that helps when it comes to, I would say, like, more of a connective type of behavioral, like, and understanding energies with your family. I know with work and stuff, it's very hard to have time for stuff like this, but with it being page by page, I feel that this is very, this would be very helpful when it comes to, you know, having just maybe even 30 minutes or an hour of like a family meeting, because you literally just have that much to read, and not all the sometimes there's not this many questions, but the questions are very graceful for sure. I feel like this would do wonders for connection. You know, first few times your family may not be happy about it, but at the same time, it really helps the reconnection and being able to understand each other and have acceptance, and helps yourself as a parent to be able to accept perspectives, help to be able to relay, I would say, opinions to a point, and help in a more graceful way, because it kind of shows you how to relay things in a more graceful and nurturing way, especially with having grace and nurturement within your own sense of self, your darker aspects of yourself. So I feel this is a very helpful element in a family unit. And this is not my book. I am borrowing this from my roommate. So this is why I'm like, wow, I'm going to definitely have one, you know, up in the living room, you know, and of course it's hard to get a child to read a book. So I like the fact of how it's structured, so you can just do a little bit page by page. And yeah, so anyone who, and it's not very, you know, it's more of a emotional, psychological type of awareness with the self. It's not very religious constricted, and I like that about it. So it really can connect on all aspects of different religious cultural groundings, and you can bring, if you'd like, especially being Christian, you can bring your own, like, a prayer type thing upon it. You know, you can add whatever it is that you feel is connected to that page that you're doing for your family unit. Especially with those that really like to do Bible studies, but it's hard to help the young ones to understand. So this, I feel, will give them a simplified connection with understanding and being able to work with themselves, possible triggers and stuff like that, because it's got a lot of that in it. And you can bring about, you know, what you feel would be very connective with whatever religious structure you have, and kind of bring a little piece of that with it. And then you will be able to incorporate that a lot easier, and it may help the young ones to understand a little more what you're trying to relay, connected to whatever religion you want to bring about. So, because I know some people kind of like stray away from some of these things, but I feel that this is very much like more of a awareness and connectivity than it is some sort of mystical thing or structuralized religion, because sometimes that can push kids away. But with you being able to pull a piece with something that's simplified and grounded, I maybe see how they react to a few pages here and there, and then see if you can place whatever religious grounding you want with it as well. So I felt like I wanted to express that with y'all, because I feel this has a potential to bring family units in a more grounded understanding and acceptance with each other, and an understanding of triggers. And you can bring about conversations and how maybe you can work with those triggers, how you both of you as a team can work with these triggers, than to just try to force them through it, because it expresses things relating to that. And in my opinion, it's like trying to force someone to be different than what they already are. And that's what these triggers are, in a way, trying to let you know, that it's like trying to pull yourself from your own path and direction that maybe your higher power wants you to go down. And this is why it's like an acceptance in who you are and why you are the way you are, and how to be able to work with that in your own reconstruction of life, or constructing of helping that young one in their future life, than to just kind of keep trying to force them in a specific direction that is obviously not all the way working. But that's how society teaches us, so giving ourselves some grace in this area. And this is why I feel with this, it will help us to be able to give grace in our family units, so that we can then be able to harmonize more of family units. And some people, yeah, they're kind of put up walls, shut downs, but you know, over time, you can still do it with the rest of the family. I wouldn't outright force them, because then it can push them away more. They'll put up more walls on it. But anyone, human behavior, when they feel left out of something, they're gonna want to join in. And especially if you're being able to keep it lighthearted, have an energy of acceptance, and they're gonna be like, oh, okay, it's not trying to make me be or do any, you know, even though they don't have that type of articulate thoughts, but those probably already triggers that are there is maybe why there's some sort of wall there. So and I feel for those of you that do go through that this will help not just really break down the wall, like you having to break down the wall, but allow them to break down the wall so that you may be able to present more of a grounded and emotional connection, instead of always feeling like, the way we're taught in a way to do things, and you have to be this, you have to do this, you have to do this, or this is going to happen, or this is going to happen. So, and it's, in my experience, it's very damaging. It hurts. It makes us pull away more. It makes us not want to be a part of whatever that, or that constructual thinking is, or a constructual way of feeling a part of something you supposed to be. And so this breaks that down, and this breaks that down and allows an emotional and intellect and conversational freedom. And I feel like with this, it'll help the bonds more, so that you can really connect more at a heightened grounding, without feeling like you have to break their wall down. It's almost like helping you to be able to allow them to break their wall down, so that when they do come in, you're not feeling like you're doing something that triggers them to build the wall back up. You're actually becoming not only aware to your own triggers, but to their triggers that's pushing the separation. Not that you're doing it on purpose by any means, but this helps to kind of see that more in a basic form. Because this is definitely something I'm going to be doing, because I know there's going to be a lot that I may have to work through, and of course allow with your own boundaries. But when those walls are there, we are constantly, in my opinion, made to feel we have to break them down, which only instills them building it back up, because it's a protection mechanism, and it starts very young. So they're so used to doing it. So you allow them to break it down. It allows them to feel an energy of peace, that it's okay to break it down, and you don't have to build it back up, because there is feeling safe grounding. And I feel like this book helps to ground that safety emotionally and psychologically, so that it makes it easier for you to be able to work with them on and with energies of differences, how to allow, but also how to keep your boundaries. Because of course we don't want to be overran. I completely get that. And I feel like that's what this helps with, so that you don't feel like your child's taking control of your home, but you're still giving your child freedom, or your teenager freedom, to fully be themselves. And watching Demon Slayer, anime, I can't believe how much anime teaches me. Watching Demon Slayer has helped me to understand how to be able to digest certain things that I may not agree with, while fully having the energy to brainstorm, understand, and create compromise grounding. So that's having your own boundaries with compromise grounding of whoever others' boundaries, without having to either completely walk away from, because of protecting yourself and your own triggers, and or in protecting their own triggers, which brings an energy of abandonment, without having to feel like you're completely walking away from it, because it's become too much. This gives that ground, and it's okay. I'm going to say the technique is going through concentrational breathing. So that's like meditation, breathing, and whatnot. But what it teaches is this anime. What it teaches is being able to do this concentrational breathing through anything, throughout all your day, the whole day. Of course, it's hard for us, for one, to already meditate, two, to already concentrate on the breathing to be able to meditate, and then three, being able to do this concentrational breathing throughout your whole day. So then it actually solidifies being able to handle all these things and having a calm mind and being able to like flow through and articulate all at the same time while you're doing a concentrational breathing that brings balance with the body's triggers of emotions and stuff like that. So that is what I am right now going through and practicing. Maybe this will be the solidification to stop cigarettes, but we'll see. Still going through my own shadow work, seeing why it is that I'm so mentally attached to cigarettes. And I feel that's the issue, that it's not just the addiction to it, it's a mental attachment, a mental trauma attachment. And I feel it has a lot to do with how I started. How I started was a social connective thing. It's hard for me to have social connection, and having a cigarette with people that smoke cigarettes, it's like an icebreaker of social connection. So I'm working through that. And thank you so much for commenting. I'm glad I was able to figure out this whole weird comment thing, and I'm glad you're able to hear me. Maybe I have to keep doing this thing. For my birthday, someone on Facebook, thank you so much. Yes, hats off to you. Sent me some funds through Cash App, and they said to get me something, or to get myself something that's going to, or that's special to me, and you know, bring like more of a sense of like self-love, self-comfort type thing. Well, one of the things that I used to have was those unicorn headphones, and so I decided to, for my birthday, for myself, to go ahead and get myself the unicorn headphones back. So I did that, and they'll be here soon. And this is this type of thing that I'm talking about. Like, you can actually be connective and collaborative with each other without sitting here completely tearing someone down. I don't force you to be here. Like, and I feel like as a society, as a connective society, we're so mad of having or feeling like we have a president or a representation of our country of someone that is just completely distasteful, but yet we work together to completely tear each other down while we go through all these self-help things and groups that really initiates a lot of support and communal support. And I feel if we had more of that from the basic level, which is why I brought about family units, because if you have it as a basic level in your family unit, it'll be able to be easier to bring it more on a basic level when it comes to neighborhoods, communal understandings and support with your local towns, cities, you know, and it can progress from there. But if we truly want at the top someone that represents a respectable and communal type of person that cares about you, we got to care about each other from a basic level. And as much as we just call these people trolls, technically they're a prime example of what we naturally go through out there in society, which is one of the foundational understandings of why I feel we have so many people in a way having a creation of DID, PTSD, agoraphobia. Even though some of these things can be genetically built, this is very much what our society as a collective, because we are all united, we are the United States of America, even though we enact being divided. And if I feel from a basic, level that's close to us, we will then be able to have the want to be able to bring that in a local aspect, because we will have everyone already being able to do this on a fundamental aspect. Of course, we'll have people with their walls, but of course, just like I was expressing, they're at a mentality of children. So with these mentalities of children and working at this on a children level, especially those closest emotionally to you, it will be easier than people that are not emotionally closer to you. Okay. So I'm hoping maybe giving an expression with this, that it'll help us to be able to communalize a little bit better. We'll see, it took Tesla, it took Einstein to apparently be crazy enough to think that they can make a difference and then be able to make a difference. Yes, they were killed off, but, I still try, This is just a part of me, and feeling or taking expectations from other people and their visionment of me onto myself is doing nothing for me, and it's not helping anyone else. So being able to have more of an acceptance of myself and construct more of a balanced emotional and psychological grounding, I'm hoping that I'll be able to build this up a little more, and I'll be able to inspire others, because that's what social media is all about, inspiring each other, in my opinion. If we use this for the greater of our health, it will be used in the greater for our health, and we'll be able to understand how far it will be okay to go with AI, and how far could be locally and city-wise, and humanity's construction of a downfall and what could harm us. But it takes us being able to balance, not just in ourselves, but our own, those that are closest to us, like a home unit, and then you'll be able to understand more of bringing about local unit, because if we don't have it in ourselves and in those closest to us, what makes us think we're going to be able to, and that's the same thing with local and communalization. Eventually they'll feel left out. They don't want to feel left out. They want to feel just as important. It'll trigger to their ego, and once it triggers to their ego and they actually bring down those walls to want to be a part of something, they are then now a part of it, and you didn't have to force them to do so. And I feel like starting this off with children will help us to be able to do this with adult children, which another book I really want to get into is The 12 Steps of an Adult Child. So maybe we'll be able to get more insight relating to that information, and maybe it'll help us to be able to bring more of a communalized grounding on such a way, tied with schools and these issues we got going on with schools, and especially with these teachers losing their cool because of the disrespect of our children. We're not going to have everyone being able to be perfect and being able to comply with everything, right? I mean, really, there's a lot of people to try to figure out how to comply with things. But if you have teachers being able to do it, and then a child being able to step into their highest acknowledgement of self, whether they have it in their home or not, you will then, I feel, they may feel like they are taking on the responsibility, but maybe they'll be able to gracefully bring their parent in. And maybe that's all it takes. Instead of us pointing and tearing down, which is why we're so mad at our own president, and he doesn't amplify a good exemplar of respect. Shoot, Russia outshows him. I mean, so, and granted, I mean, Russia is not perfect, but, and the things he tries to do is not perfect, but at the same time, he exemplifies respect, especially when it comes to all the leaders coming together. So at least if we get a sense of understanding in that, maybe we'll be able to allow something like that to be able to be at top, and we'll want to be able to come together as we, the united, being able to do this and exemplify ourselves, and then have full acknowledgement of being able to vote that in, because if we don't, this is what we got. So, I have hope. It starts with hope, especially with a lot of us being able to go, yeah, I mean, we don't want what we have, but I feel maybe if we are given an opportunity to shift, maybe we would be able to have that opportunity to reunite again instead of being so divided, and reunite with acceptance of differences, but respect of free will. With respect of life, of course. Because free will is one thing, but a whole nother thing is, well, it's my free will to kill someone. That's not respecting life. Does that thing want to die? No. Well, then that's not respect. Like, come on now. Did that child want to be raped? No. Well, then that's not respect of free will. Like, I know it's a sad matter, but if we kind of present this in that type of understanding, and like it makes it seem like hopefully maybe it'll help them to understand, and if they don't understand, this is how I feel we have an energy of like timeout, hello, type of thing. Like, you feel like it's not like we're placing them in timeout, but it's in a way a triggered feeling that happens. Like, if you don't feel a part of a group, what do you feel? Do you feel like you're in timeout? So if we use these natural triggered behaviors in a positive, constructive way, oh, you don't want to feel in timeout? What do you like to do? What is natural for you to do that is positive for the community, and give that to them instead of changing them? Obviously, that is not working. Like, forcing them to be different. Oh, we need you to do this. There goes that wall. It's the wall I'm talking about. And that's why it's like, honestly, if we work at with each other's strength and trying to force each other to be different, or to constantly work at what you're not good at, if they want to work at certain things and expand themselves, okay, cool. Well, then we'll give you a little more. But if you want to just work with what you're good at and then work at that, and then you feel like you can take on more, then you'll be able to take on more. But if you just overload them with things that they're already not good at, what do you expect is going to happen besides a mental breakdown or a lashing out? It's one or the other. It's either going to turn into a violent aggression, or it's going to be a submission of breakdown, and then a teardown of confidence. We want them to feel confident so they can feel confident enough to take on more with their own decision. They don't feel like it's being forced, because when you feel like you're being forced to do something, if someone gives you a gun and tells you to go kill someone, are you going to do it? Or are you going to put up walls? That's no different than the simplified version. really no different. You're either going to break down into tears or you're going to get so aggressive you're going to kill the person that told you to do it. I mean, come on now. That's exactly how our functional society works and what's happening. And so now all our different sensitive people are completely becoming agoraphobic because they feel like they are not worthy enough to be a part of the community. That's so wrong. That's like labeling upon someone you don't deserve to live. And I feel like starting from the core, the bottom of everything, especially with the difficulties we're already having, we'll be able to build and understand a little bit more on how to be able to recommunalize into more of a healthier society. So we don't feel like if you don't do what we want you to do, then you're not worthy. While we're being told you having these thoughts are just your imagination and you telling yourself you're not worthy. Cause and effect, honey. If they felt like they were worthy of anything, then they would feel concluded and not excluded. Like they would feel like they're also a part of the solution instead of feeling like, well, I guess I'm just meant to be a part of the problem, that a problem and an issue that doesn't seem to want any solution to it. But while we have a bunch of these professionals telling us that, well, if you can't do this and if you can't do this, then you just don't want help. Wow. So we've trained our professionals to be very gaslighting and hurtful like that? That's sad. Good morning. Just as sad as this person sitting here calling me a sad person when I care so much that I am also a part of the exclusion of feeling worthy enough to be a part of society. And feeling like I'm sorry for the way I'm born. That's hurtful. That's how harsh we as a collective of the of humans of the United States are. And if you want to include outside country people, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I'm saying don't do it out of like the letting our own kind die off. That is completely different. If you had enough to include more, then the rest of us should not feel excluded because you want to include what you think, I guess, would make your country more money. And this is what I feel a lot of these support against ICE people. I mean, I'm not for ICE. I mean, I don't honestly don't want to touch that. If a country has a hard time even just supporting its own people, what makes you feel like it's okay to sit here and take from them just to support a bunch of people that hasn't even put effort into this country itself? If we're not unified within our own selves, being here, born here, grew up here, then how can we even structuralize grounding with other people from outside of their country, or even be an example so that they don't feel like they have to run to us for any kind of like support, help, this, that, and another. They can be able to communalize this and understand this within their own country. And if it is an upper, hello, rise and shine. And if it is an upper, representation issue, they will then be able to come together, and then you can give a country support literally on that type of end. But how can you give support? Just like, how can I expect any of you to be able to have more of a communalized support if you're already in stress just trying to have grounding in your own personalized family unit? Not all of us are perfect, but we can bring compromising, grounding, and acceptance of each other to where we can work together at least. And if we do this on the basic level, we should be able to understand how to do it on a more intricate mass level. See, like, honestly, communalizing is free. So, like, what's the point in tearing each other down? Like, what's wrong with you? What happened to you, Brian, that you feel the need to tear someone down to make yourself feel better? Because you feel like you've been work slaved so much that you just feel like you have the right to judge and condemn? Is that all this country can do? Is that all we the people can do? Is that all we know how to do, is judge and condemn each other? While I'm sitting here just expressing on maybe what we can do better so that we don't have to go through such verbal abuse and tear down of our own people while we're mad about helping other people that have not even had a structuralized like group connectivity here, and we feel like we're being left to the ditches while they're trying to bring in, I guess, people that they feel is better to replace us. I mean, how else do you think your vets feel? Some of them feel like they don't even deserve a peaceful home or environment, but yet all these flooding of people that they went to war and risked their life to protect against. I mean, how can we expect to be a healthy community when we can't even be a healthy community for ourselves? That actually turns that into a flood in of an invasion. Not that they have the intent to hurt, but it is an invasion of our own people, because we are then giving resources to them more than we are supporting our own people, and then seeing what we have more to give after. So you're pretty much slapping your vets in the face like, we don't care about your well-being, we're just going to care about these people's well-being. That's hurtful. While we sit here and point our finger at the president, but we are all united and supposed to be united for these very reasons. Jeez. And honestly, a lot of you just want to use prayer as an answer, while what are we doing as a community to bring strength so that this doesn't happen? Because how long have you been a community of Christianity, and still I constantly see Jesus' lessons not being upheld? Because this is a lot of what Jesus talked about in the Bible. Why don't we have it then? Because honestly, that's a way to tear down them in a positive wording way. And that's not what I'm doing. I'm saying maybe we wouldn't have this as a mental mindset throughout our society if we can correspond with each other in such a way. With action. Instead of forcing a religious understanding. We can bring an acceptance without forcing this. And that's one of the things that Jesus teaches. Just because you say it with pretty words doesn't mean it's an emotional teardown. And I banned you. So you are definitely someone with high authority that just wants to sit there and rip people apart for absolutely no freaking reason, dude. You really don't care that much. Do you not have your own life? Do you not have your own community, but you want to tear down someone else's community? Are you that lonely? I'm projecting questions. And you want to assume I don't have a job. Well, that's funny. What if this is my higher power's job, and just because I can't afford to be accepted in your terms, who made you higher power, to be honest? Seems how you still want to be here, but you don't want to go in your own life and project whatever it is you have to say. You want to do it in someone else's life. That's verbal invasion. I mean, seriously. How is that any different than what we're already going through? And I've already hit banned. We should have that right, because this is my safe space. We should be able to have our own safe space to be able to express whatever it is we wish to express. And if you want to express what you want to express, you can literally go on your own page, on your own business page, instead of cause trouble in someone else's business. That's like going into someone else's business and say, oh, nope, you wrong, you don't do this. Go do this for me right now because I feel like that's just what she don't like in someone else's store. See how we treat social media? Do you not have respect for other people's businesses? How is this store any different than if you were to walk into someone else's store? I don't see you going and running your mouth, showing your face, doing that to other stores. No, you chose social media to be able to do that. Because no one can see your face? Because you want to project yourself as a troll and hurt other people with verbal invasion? And then we wonder why we've allowed socialism invasion and financial invasion? That is financial invasion because of the fact you're neglecting your own people while you're taking care of others. That's financial invasion. You don't have to build up a force to hurt and kill people when you can build up a force and collective communalizing that can put that in the actual line the way it needs to. And then you'd be able to do so. Maybe that would inspire, because, we already have Greenland all coming together. Our lack of being able to support each other have already given Greenland an inspiration to come together and keep their own country from being owned by anyone else. Like dogs. You really look down on Greenland that much that you say you are not good enough people to be able to keep themselves communalized without being owned? So all of you very rich leaders do not have the heart enough to communalize with each other. Well, that makes sense because, look at the lack of community within your own people. And it takes apparently a threat of war for communalization, or a threat of owning for communalization. And see, this is definitely someone from high up that's able to overrule, or someone from social media that pushes division amongst the people instead of uniting which is something we were constitutionally like created in a sense from, while we make it hard for the Native Americans. Did you see how ICE treated one of the Native Americans on his own land? That shouldn't have even been possible. If we cared about our own people here in our own land, in our own many communities, that would have never happened, because they would have already known, because of being, constructed within positive communalization, instead of going, well, we just have to seek out enemy, and if you look like a enemy we seek out, we are going to forcibly do mean things to you. Goodness, you're all about overstepping people's freedom and constitutional rights, to be personally honest. And oh no, we're protecting our constitutional rights. Really? I don't think I would have this much of an issue when it comes to having to ban someone that apparently has ruling to override that. Like, how much do you really hate me, Facebook? Because you have terms and conditions about that, but yet you've illegally banned me from my own business, my own Facebook, over me bringing an awareness to something that is a reality that people go through here. But you allow this, while this person completely tears me down in my own business. That's aggression. And if I had a store, I would have been able to call the cops on that. But this is completely different. We're just going to keep allowing this form of abuse. That's against your community standards that you literally tried to use, that I wasn't even doing, to ban me from being something that's a positive influence. See, again, like, really? No. And that is how crooked we are, not just as a community, but the people we allow to establish themselves as leaders. We wouldn't have leaders like this if we were all united under respect, understanding, collaborations, and being able to do things on a positive note instead of verbally lash at each other about not being this and not being that, and you should be this, but yet we ain't even a full example of what we sit there and preach. I mean, really, that's an invasion. And people who own this app and set communalized agreements don't even uphold it themselves. Did I ever make videos of sexually selling my body? No. Now, did I bring awareness to someone that was expressing their story about doing it? Yes. And that's not against community guidelines. That's bringing an awareness. That's being an advocate about something and bringing a teaching element to something without it being exposed. But you allow this, not y'all, but they allow this. What is suing going to do if you ain't got no money to be for a lawyer willing to be on your side because they're with all the crooked leaders? And we got all these crooked leaders, but yet we don't understand within ourselves from the basics to make sure honorable people are in charge so we don't go through this. We want to blame all of them when we're not doing it ourselves. How many of you have seen friendly activity in a grocery store, let alone? I mean, how many of you are are exposed to child indecency, children showing off their private parts like cheeks of the asses, extreme like showing of things. You're being exposed. How many of these children, these boys, go to a beach and thank you and being exposed to these adults full bottoms? I mean, and I found it interesting how when I was on YouTube, there's a whole nother country that doesn't even allow two pieces when you go swimming in the water. And as much as you can see, some people would express that as extreme or over the top. Well, why can't we have an opinion as conservatives? That being extreme and over top, like you completely showing your ass and so small, you like these children are completely exposed to adult indecency. And then we expect our females not to expose indecency while we're literally giving these pedophiles exactly what they want? I mean, why do I have to constantly sit here and ban someone that shouldn't even be here? That's just defamation of character and verbally completely just down tearing me in my own business. This is a business page. I did do a 10-9. That is no different than if you were to have your own store, besides the fact you need a few other permits to be able to have a store, or freaking certain things like this, which is probably why I really can't make a lawsuit about it, which is wrong. We have the right to protect ourselves, right? But yet when I go to jail, my pepper spray gets thrown away and I'm released out in downtown at night. No money to be able to do anything. Thank you, Lori Paul. Hello, good morning. And honestly, I feel like if we want better leaders, we gotta start from the basics. As we, the people of the United States, we gotta be united to have unition. And it's no wonder they're literally probably paying this person to do this towards me, to try to get me off topic and to completely be verbally down tearing and ripping apart. Like, this is full example. I've already banned this person over, 5 times now? You shouldn't have the right to be here. I should have my rights in saying, you are too verbally abusive to even be a part of this community, so no, you go somewhere else where they accept, I guess, that verbal abuse. Not here. We have the right to be able to say that. But of course, we have all our supposed leaders taking away our constitutional rights and verbally down tearing Crockett, is her name, who stands up for our constitutional rights. And especially getting ripped apart by all these judges who thinks they're holier than thou. We have the constitutional rights for a reason. Why I have to feel like I have to express my own constitutional rights when if I were to lose, you're going to fine me with a bunch of fees for even taking it to trial. Because I want to uphold my own constitutional rights. And then if I were to win, how come we don't get anything when it says we're supposed to be entitled to something if we win and we're found falsely convicted? But if you don't know that, we're not going to do that for you. So what makes you honorable as a leader? I mean, really? Coffee. I really didn't mean to get this. I really don't mean to do this. I just wanted to talk about a book I was reading. And what I was learning through a freaking anime that's a little bit dark. I don't feel like all of our children should be knowing about this anime, but I mean, at least it's not all hentai, fully exposing body parts. Hilarious. Like, not good, but I mean, it takes a community. It takes a healthy community to have a healthy community and to have healthy leaders. Apparently, you're the joke, really, because you're the one enforcing yourself in other people's lives. I'm not forcing myself. All of y'all can leave. Like, good morning. I hope you have a good day as well. Because how do you even have the capability to unban yourself? That's against community standards and guidelines. Like, we said no. But Facebook doesn't care about your well-being, apparently. And we should have that right to stand up for each other and not be able to be paid to completely rip each other apart while we blame our leaders. But yet we can't even do it for each other. Especially rich people. They wouldn't be this rich if we cared about ourselves in our own community. Each and individual community. And you got that going. You've got it going all the way to the top. It goes all the way to the top. But if you ain't got a grounding of it, and you got a grounding of abuse, what you got? All the way to the top. Because that's the ladders we allow right there. Well, he says, I'm the one ruining America. Really? When I actually care enough? And now it's automatically being unbanned. Wow. We have that bad of controlling people, and you wonder why you see homeless in your communities. We have been separated so much that we accept this in all of our social media when it can be used for building us up for good. It makes me wonder what people like this are training our AIs to do to us. Because to have an evil AI, you need money. And I guess when you have money, they're allowed to do whatever it is they want to you. That's bringing an awareness of what we clearly is being seen here. Because they can take their somewhere else, but of course they're being paid, more than likely being paid to sit here and harass. That's harassment. Prime example. And do you think they're getting kicked out of Facebook? I wonder why. But all of y'all have witnessed me get kicked out of Facebook for just bringing awareness and wanting to bring us together in a positive note. And helping us to possibly understand. Making an ass out of yourself. But this isn't just him. Or else Facebook would do something just like they did to me. So, Meta, I'm going to say it, Meta, you obviously don't care about your own rules and conditions. Meta, unless it's something that's going to bring about unification. Meta, because y'all like to unify each other, Meta, to tear people down and create more chaos, Meta, or you would do something about it. Meta, Facebook. But obviously you don't truly care about your terms and conditions enough to do something about it, Meta. You're just going to allow them to be unbanned. Meta. That's the thing. Please practice your Second Amendment right. Well, I know freedom of speech is the first. Second is defending yourself. What, we're just gonna go around carrying guns and looking that abruptly? Like, technically defending yourself is not always needing a gun, but everyone goes straight to having a gun. That one makes me feel a little uncomfortable sometimes, but hey, we do have our constitutionals for a reason. I mean, look at how deadly we've become towards each other with just even using that, to be honest. This is actually harassment. On a business page, I actually get paid for having work, technically doing work, while they just want to shut me down for doing my own work. That you don't know whether the higher power has assigned me to this. It would say the higher power has assigned me to this, or else I wouldn't be here doing it. I wouldn't feel the inspiration in the pool to constantly come back, no matter the abuse. Even from Meta itself, falsifying actual, like, penalties to hurt my business. Like, really? Is that what we've become? Because we don't know how to come together in a positive way, but we all know how to spew everyone else being more positive. While I'm sitting here just hoping and giving you examples, maybe work activities to be able to do this on a personal level, and maybe we can be able to easier do this on a huger collective type of level, while I'm being verbally harassed. But we allow this because if this person didn't have the money and the connections in Meta itself to override the banning, we really do live in a sad age. That does make me fearful of our well-being as we the people here in the United States. These other countries are going to get fed up. I'm not just fearful for each individual's well-being. I'm fearful for all of us, for our whole country. While we blame it on some random person on the top of a freaking pyramid scheme, while we can literally rip apart the blocks from the bottom as it just crashes itself. Because you're putting cogs into a new constructive system than being cogs to something that's hurting their community and families yourselves. How hard it is for some of y'all to be able to come back home and want to do this because you're living day by day while you're working so many hours. I care about what y'all go through. While this person wants to sit here and rip me a new in for no reason because I care. I care about y'all. While we have a president we hate, and you have one person apparently crazy enough to do something, to try to be here for you, to try to help y'all in what I can even see y'all go through, while I'm going through apparently being a fucking lazy ass bum. Because that's what people want to call me. While I'm apparently unworthy to have a home and to be in part of my children's life. Because that's the result that happens when it comes to people like me ending up on the streets. Or not even having enough to sustain a basic living. That's including a vehicle to be able to go to do what you need to do. To even be able to be there for these children. But this is what our taxes go to. It takes a new machine to have a new machine. It takes putting those cogs in that new machine to eliminate the old one. You don't have to deconstruct an old machine. All you have to do is put effort into a new one. And I feel like, in my personal opinion, this is what Obama is missing while he's tearing down the mechanism of an old machine without giving support to a new way, which is honestly, financially, what Russia and a few other countries are already doing, that's going to literally leave our whole country behind. And that's terrifying. So that our financial dollar ain't even worth nothing to be able to even be constructed within the new world. And it could get worse than just that. To where one of these very rich countries will end up owning not only our country, but other countries. This is a ripping apart of being able to even rule in your own country. Whether that be like however it's needed. And it sucks that some of them have crooked ruling, but how can we be there for the people in that and help them to be able to have that communalized building together if we don't represent that? And if we represent that, how much do you think we can truly initiate such a positive shift? Not just for us, but for the rest of them like Greenland. It's already starting. What about, I don't know if y'all have seen those ships that apparently were fighting from over there past or on the other side of Africa? Like, we're already starting a boundary line of World War III. And that's terrifying. But it literally starts from all the way down here, or we wouldn't have leaders that obviously seems to think killing is the best way to do things. Abuse is the best way to do things, to get rid of people that bring about collective building and acceptance. But I'm only one person. I can only do so much. And just like this random person that can override a band, obviously having enough money to do so, we allow people like this to be able to be in control. What hope besides lies? While this person says I'm the one lying. I'm not telling you to believe what I'm expressing. I'm just wanting to give possible understandings that can bring a growth with what I'm expressing. It's fully giving you your own opportunity, your own thoughts, while this person wants to imprint thoughts on y'all about defamation of someone's character. And why not to listen? It's your choice to listen. And it's our choice to figure out what to do with people like this, especially with them having so much money to overrule our free will. It's my free will to say you can't be here, and it's overruled. It's our free will to be able to have a freedom of speech about a understanding in someone's choice in their living, and for them to be able to express it without completely being ripped out of your own business you've built on. Overruled. For what? I didn't expose nothing. I used my freedom of speech and someone else's freedom of speech. We're going to overrule our Constitution like that? And then we have a hard time protesting without completely being demolished. We're going to just overrule. So, do you want to be cogs of what we already got? Prime example of what you already expressed you don't like? Or do we want to be a cogs of a different idea, different way of being, a different way of collaborating with each other? It's everyone's choice. But it takes all of us to choose it, and I'm fully aware of that. And sometimes I wonder if I just try for no reason. I wish I didn't feel that way. I wish I had more support. Instead of feeling completely alone. Just like a lot of our sensitive people that go through the same things. Just a lot of our vets. A lot of our vets go through these feelings. I wonder why. What about all of you that have gone through court and feel completely stripped of your constitutional rights? That's part of that old machine. I'm not saying we have to stop working, but we can shift it. I'm not saying you have to completely quit your job, but we can shift acknowledgement in some of these things, and it goes up the ladder. Naturally, as we've seen, and naturally abuse goes up the ladder. Well, we have guardians of pedophilia. There's so many YouTube videos going out through right now of this. This is a term even used in some of the social media news on YouTube at that. Guardians of pedophilia. Did you know Kurt was a part of it? That guy that was doing protesting tied with Christianity, he was also, I'm like, what? But hey, what do I know? I'm just a horrible person according to this person that seems to have rights to override someone's ban to verbally harass. I'm not verbally harassing anyone. I'm using my First Amendment. This is verbal harassment and not using your First Amendment because you would be on your own page. And I can't even go towards any of y'all's other comments because I'm sitting here being abused against my own terms and conditions according to Meta and Facebook. But I guess that's the world we're going to accept. As we the people who are supposed to be united. And united we stand. I hope you have a good day. And that my expressions didn't bring you down, but inspire all of us. Because we need each other. We truly need each other. Or how can we expect anything to be any different? Truthfully and honestly. Like the 12 steps and the 12 principles. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you for even wanting to be here. Even through the verbal harassment a wonderful day, and I wish y'all many blessings and love, no matter your religion.